Hey, welcome back. Today we're in Hershey. No, we're not here to take you on some rides at Hershey Park or show you the Hershey Kisses or how chocolate's made, but we're at the Pennsylvania State Police Museum, which is located on the grounds of the Pennsylvania State Police Training Academy. With me is Bob. Bob works here at the museum, and he's also retired from the Pennsylvania State Police. Now he spends his days educating the public about the history and the current day state police. So I'm going to give Bob a moment to introduce himself and let you know what he's about and what the museum's about. Bob?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Bob Einsel, and I'm a retired major with the state police. I'm currently the president of the board of directors here. The museum is actually a nonprofit. It's a 501c3, and our mission is to educate the public on the great history of the Pennsylvania State Police, also to preserve our history, and also to honor the state troopers who have made the ultimate sacrifice over our 118-year history. The museum consists of a variety of exhibits which exemplify our incredible history that we have. And the purpose of our visit today is to show you a little bit of what we have here in the museum that will be of interest to you.
Very good. Well, thanks, Bob. Thank
Okay.
you. So let's real briefly, we want to touch on some things. Obviously, 118 years, as Bob said, we can't touch on in a couple of minutes, but we're going to give you a quick, brief overview of the Pennsylvania State Police, and hopefully that will intrigue you to come see the beautiful museum that they have here and all the cool stuff. We're going to show you in a little bit some of the displays, but Bob, so I do want to kind of go back to the very beginning.
Sure.
The very foundation or formation of what has become the Pennsylvania State Police today. Kind of briefly explain how that all started.
Sure. The Pennsylvania State Police that we know today grew out of the Great Anthracite Coal Strike of 1902. At the time, President Theodore Roosevelt personally intervened to bring that strike to an end and created a commission to look into its origins. The primary recommendation that came out of that commission was that the state of Pennsylvania had to create a statewide law enforcement agency to deal with these strikes and these labor issues. Ergo, the Pennsylvania State Police was created on May the 2nd, 1905, consisting of 228 troopers to patrol 45,000 square miles. Over the last 118 years, we have grown to over 4,700 troopers, both men and women, who have that same mission to protect and preserve the citizens of the Commonwealth, ensure peace and tranquility, and provide the best professional police work that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania can expect.
Good. Very good. Thanks, Bob. So as you can see, that's a very brief overview, but very cool. The Pennsylvania State Police has a very strong history, very proud organization. And this is cool. I'm learning a lot today, just as you are. We're going to take a walk through the museum here. Bob's going to show us some other stuff. And also Tom's here. You'll see him in a little bit. Hey, check this out. A really cool and unique piece here at the museum is this orange car right here, as you can see. So from the 1920s through the 1970s, the Pennsylvania State Police had a rodeo or a circus per se. They'd go around the state to do a public relations event. And prior to the 1960s, before a pension system was created, it was also used as a way to raise some money for the retirement funds of the troopers. But this was used as part of a clown act during that rodeo, if that's what you want to call it. And it was really popular back in the day. It was before my time. I never got to see it. I'm learning it now for the first time as well. But I'm going to let Bob come in, and he'll give you a detailed explanation. But this is pretty cool. I saw this as soon as I walked in and figured we got to highlight this. I never knew about it. So I'm going to let Bob come on in here and give you a rundown of exactly what these rodeos were about. Bob?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the rodeo was actually the best public relations event that the state police had. And as Scott indicated, it was really a combination of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus meets Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show. It did not consist of steer roping and Burma bull riding and that sort of thing. But every May, right after Memorial Day, 75 troopers would come in off the road, and they would participate in and train in a series of acts that we would take on the road beginning in August. The show itself lasted about an hour and a half. It was free to the public, and it consisted of horses, dogs, motorcycles, trick riding, trick shooting, acrobats, all performed by state police troopers. And the show was about an hour and a half in length, and at the end of the show, the spectators were invited to come back behind the scenes. They could pet the dogs and pet the horses, and they could talk with the troopers without that stigma of having the trooper in uniform giving the individual a citation. In other words, it humanized the state troopers in the eyes of the public. Unfortunately, the show came to an end in 1974 due to budgetary constraints, and like I said, the best public relations event that the state police ever had is now history. It no longer exists.
Very good. Well, thank you, Bob. Very unique piece of Pennsylvania State Police history here. When you're here at the museum, they do have video showing what this was like. So if you don't remember it and you never got the chance to see it, they have video here. You can check it out and see what we're talking about.
Hey, when I enlisted in the state police in 1968, I actually was a member of the rodeo team. I rode a horse in the various acts, and one of the most exciting acts that I rode in was this one right here, where I would jump my horse through flaming hoops. In this case, a flaming keystone. Now, my horse was not real anxious to jump through flaming fire, so what I had to do is kind of spur him a little bit. And as we were approaching this flaming keystone, as it narrows down to the base, he got a little off center, and we brushed up against the one side of this flaming keystone, and I had riding boots on. They were nicely polished, but those flames just burnt the polish right off the side of that riding boot. So I had to, after the show was over, I had to spend a great deal of time repolishing those boots I was wearing for the show.
Hey, another cool and unique piece here at the museum. On 25 October 1989 was the Camp Hill prison riots. I'm sure many of you remember it. Camp Hill is right across the river from Harrisburg. Behind me is some of the jail cell bars that were in the prison at the time. And the rest of the display, there's some video going and really cool artifacts related to this. One thing that I found kind of intriguing was during the whole riots, there was a large response coming in for this. But the Harrisburg airport sent over a crash rescue truck to help with the riots, and they ended up ramming a wall in the kitchen where the prisoners were creating a barricade. So I thought that was kind of a rather unique part of this piece of history. But Bob's going to give you a detailed explanation of all this. He obviously knows a lot more about it than I do. So Bob?
Okay. Yeah, this incident resulted in the mobilization of over 1,000 state troopers to respond, and initially we were required to encircle the prison to make sure no inmates escaped, because we had about 1,500 inmates there that were rioting, took control of the prison, set a number of buildings on fire. They took 5 guards hostage, and our job, of course, was to retake the prison with the least amount of loss of life or injury. And every trooper, regardless if you were a major or a trooper from the Harrisburg area, responded to this because we needed to get people there in a hurry. The riot lasted for 3 days. The prisoners were taking control of the paint factory. They took control of the welding shops. So they had flammable liquids. They were making Molotov cocktails. They were jerry-rigging the cells with razor wire so that when the troopers would enter the cells, the razor wire would come down on the troopers to cut them. Fortunately for us, no one escaped. No one was killed. The 5 hostage guards were injured, and we had about 140 other injuries to troopers and also inmates. But ultimately, the situation was resolved. The state police took back control of the prison. There was over $14 million worth of damage done to the facility. And the state police were there for a number of months until the prison was able to be rebuilt and until the prisoners were brought back and rehoused.
There you go. Another cool display here at the museum, and also a large piece of Pennsylvania State Police history. Hey, another cool piece at the museum here. This display in Shade Gap, Pennsylvania, was the largest manhunt in state police history up until 2014. So I'm going to let Bob explain all this. This is new to me too. I'm learning this just as you are, but this is a unique story, and I'm going to let Bob kind of explain to you all the details on what happened this day. Bob?
Yeah, thanks. This incident took place on May the 11th of 1966, and it involved an individual with some mental problems by the name of William Hollenbach, who abducted a 17-year-old young girl from the school bus stop by the name of Peggy Ann Bradnick. He kept her hostage, so to speak, for a total of 8 days before the state police finally were able to catch up with him. But it involved a manhunt consisting of over 400 troopers looking for this individual. The FBI was involved. In fact, during the manhunt itself, Hollenbach shot and killed FBI agent Terry Anderson on the 7th day of the manhunt. And in the ensuing gun battle that took place, the state police shot and killed Hollenbach. They rescued Peggy Ann Bradnick. She was obviously emotionally distraught, taken to the hospital. She subsequently recovered, and to this day, she actually goes around the state of Pennsylvania giving talks about her ordeal at the hands of this maniac.
Tom took us to the basement to give us a behind-the-scenes look into the archives room. The archives room is not open to the public. Hey, here we are downstairs in the vault, also known as the archives room. Down here, Tom's going to show us what he's got going on down here. There's all kinds of stuff from 1905 to present day down here relating to the state police. So I'm going to let Tom give you a look into what goes on down here and how they do their research and come up with all the things they use for the museum and other research as well. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom Memmi. I'm the historian and archivist. I'm responsible for everything that goes on down in our basement or our vault. We go, as Scott says, we have things that go back to 1905. Majority of what we have down here are items that were used by the Pennsylvania State Police: uniforms, firearms, and other equipment. We also have some crime evidence down here. Most of that is photographic. It goes way back to the beginning of the force. And once in a while, we'll take items that are in the boxes here. We'll put them upstairs. We'll rotate our displays so that everything's kept interesting. But there's a lot of interesting things stored down here below I can share with you. Right, so this is our gun cabinet that we have downstairs. We have some firearms on display. For example, here's an old Colt revolver, .38 special. This was a issued weapon. The Colt .38 was an issued weapon for the Pennsylvania State Police from 1905 until 1980. This was a donation. We accept donations of firearms and other things, so we're glad to have them. .38 special. Put that away. We also have weapons that were used in various crimes and in different conditions. Here is an old open revolver. It's in not very good condition. You can see the whole cylinder comes off. That's really not supposed to do that. We have a firearm like that. See, it even has electric tape on there. Never trust that. And this is a unique one. Early on, the criminal investigators would wear plain clothes. They didn't have uniforms, so they would have smaller, shorter barrels. This is an example of an old Colt revolver. Typically, they didn't have a pearl handle, but the trooper decided to fancy his up with that. What else we got here? I know this weapon, not to get a lot of detail, this small .22 was used by a bad guy to harm somebody. Shot some lady in the face, but she did survive. So we have weapons like that. And then this is another one. Someone else donated relatively recently. This double-barreled sawed-off shotgun, sawed off at here and sawed off at the stock. This was used in a crime in the 1960s. So we have that here as well. We can't put everything on display, so like the rest of the archives room, we keep things stored away. Okay, we have a lot of things in our archives room, including evidence from closed crimes. And in this box are photographs from a case involving an individual by the name of Joseph Callinger, also known as the Shoemaker. He was out of Philadelphia. He killed 4 people, including his one son. He did his crimes here in Pennsylvania as well as New Jersey. But the photographs we have here are from a lineup that he took part in, as well as his other son that he traveled with. He had a son that would go to people's homes and knock on their doors, and he would say, "Is this the home of the Johnsons?" And they would naturally open the door because he appeared to be innocent, and his father would come in from behind and harm the people in the home. One of the homes he entered was in Swatara Township here in Harrisburg, and this is a lineup that he was in, a police lineup, and also his son is in a lineup after he was caught. And this box contains evidence from a closed case which involved an individual by the name of Gary Robbins. And he was on the loose in the 70s and 80s. He would cause harm to people, specifically women, in various ways, including murder, besides abduction. And we have some of his tools of his trade that were taken from him. We have some rope left over. We've got string. We got duct tape. We have scarves. Also in this box, as evidence, we have a Polaroid camera, which he would enter their homes, and he would just tell them he's just there to rob them, not cause harm. He would take a picture of them as they were tied up, and he was just saying, I'm just here to take a photograph of you. I'll take things from your home, and I'll keep that Polaroid photograph so I know what you look like in case you go to the police. But he was completely lying to him. He ended his own life in the 1980s with a firearm that we have here, with a .357 Magnum. He was surrounded. He was in his Chevy, blue Chevy, on the highway, and he ended his own life there. Thank goodness. There are several open cases, not just in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Ohio, that possibly linked to him. But as of right now, we're not sure if he was the one involved.
Hey, hope you enjoyed the video today at the Pennsylvania State Police Museum in Hershey. Tom's here. He's going to have some final parting words for you. Bob, unfortunately, had to leave early, but we do thank Bob for his time. He did an excellent job showing us around the museum and what's here for you to enjoy. So again, if you're in Hershey, whether you're here for the park or just driving through, make a plan to come up here. Not many people know this place exists, so this place is here for you to enjoy and explain the history of the state police. Just some cool stuff to see, and it also pays tribute to the troopers who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So I'm going to let Tom give any final words he has regarding the museum and any events they may have coming up. Tom?
So I'm just going to say thanks to Scott for coming here today. We really appreciate it. Hope you guys had just a quick view of what we have inside the museum. Just remember, we're here behind the State Police Academy. It is open to the public. We're here Monday through Saturday, but you can just look us up online. Just do a search on the Pennsylvania State Police Museum. And again, thank you very much.